Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. This is Brother Yakana from the GMS Houston camp, and this is just a lesson just going into. I mean, you see it right there. What Nero has said. You know what he said last week at the speech in Quantico. Just going over like a few quotes, and this is basically, our people are completely unaware of what's going on and what's getting ready to take place. If it ain't sports, some stupid ass movie, alcohol, booty shaking, or whatever like that, the people are not paying attention. I asked a few people, it's like, hey man, did you see that speech? That they gave last week, or did you see that speech? Over in Quantico, what they said. What they did, what they were doing the other day. It didn't matter. They didn't even, where they had, I believe it was 800, military personnel, upper military personnel, however you call it, important people in this world, all meeting in one place to discuss what's going on here in Babylon the Great. And Jake is not paying attention. So I asked ChatGPT a few questions, and we're just going to line it up with the scriptures. So Trump said recently, we're being invaded from within. What is the full quote? Because it was going around, the quote. It says, here's one version of what Trump said in a speech at Quantico on September 30th, 2025. We're under invasion from within, no different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. So what does this mean? Because, hey, for one, you remember a few years back, not that long ago, last year, the year before, and probably the previous year, where there was footage going around of different men from different countries like China. I remember seeing people from, I think, either Russia or Eastern Europe, people from India, all kinds of people that were crossing the southern border. So they would either fly into South America, Central America, whatever, and then work their way up to the Mexican border and cross the border there. And there would be, like I said, footage of this. But the focus would be on you so-called, Latinos, you illegals, but there would be no mention of these foreign so-called invaders, which we know with ICE, they're not going after what you see who they're going after. They're going after you Latinos. They're going after Jake. So it says it's hard. It's hard to identify this foreign enemy. This is vague language. This is a serpent. He has a forked tongue. He's saying one thing and meaning another, and it's easy to deny because the language is vague. So it's easy to identify an enemy when he's wearing a uniform. It's hard now because everybody's wearing the same clothes. So how do you tell the difference? So here's also more context around that passage. Only in recent decades did politicians somehow come to believe that our job is to police the far reaches of Kenya and Somalia while America is under invasion from within. But hey, that's part of the scriptures. That's part of the scriptures of who this man would be described to be. Let me see here. This is Habakkuk 2 and verse 5, just straight to the point. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. So through his philosophies, through capitalism, any other ism, feminism, in many different ways, democracy, this man has made the earth drunk and passed this on to the other nations, and now the other nations are mad. They're waking up because they've been duped. Somebody got them drunk and they ran through their pockets, took their resources, took their way of life, and now they, in a form of slavery, and their people are mad, insane. He is a proud man. America is very proud. Even the national bird that they've been propping up for years, and now coming out and saying, that it's not the national bird. Now it is. It's not. It wasn't. Now it is. The bald eagle, a very proud looking bird, says, neither keepeth at home. This is this man. He don't keep at home. He's always in somebody else's backyard telling them what to do. So like it says, only in recent decades did politicians somehow come to believe that our job is to police the far reaches of Kenya and Somalia. So now you're saying, oh no, we got to come back home. But says he neither, Habakkuk 2 and verse 5, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as deaf, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So this was the purpose, to gather all nations unto you, to put these nations in a form of debt slavery, to bring them all here. So now you got workers and more taxpayers and all kinds of blah, 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 all kinds of things that this devil goes. So only in recent years, only in recent decades did politicians somehow come to believe that our job is to police the far reaches of Kenya and Somalia while America is under invasion from within. So, he's saying, oh, we're under invasion, but in reality, you've been heaping all these people to yourselves. You've been bringing all these people here. You've been causing them to come here to Babylon the Great. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. It's a war from within. So, if you're looking at that, it's like, what does that mean? What do you mean by that? Hey, Nero, what do you mean? But, I'm going to skip past that because it just gave me a link for the full transcript, and that's all right. I thought it was going to post it, and I asked it, what else was said in this speech pointing towards citizens? Here are some of the additional remarks Trump made in that Quantico speech. So here it is, key themes and statements towards citizens, internal issues, cities as training grounds, and domestic deployment. I told Pete we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military. But because we're going into Chicago very soon, so he stated in his plans, look, we're going to use these cities as training grounds for the military. And who's in these cities that he named off primarily? It's a melting pot, but it's primarily Jake. And they're going to be using you as target practice. He singled out cities run by Democrats: San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. They're very unsafe places. We're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war too. So what's he saying? He's going to war against you civilians, you Jake, you criminals. And this is also a country divided, because he's not going into Republican cities, he's going into Democrat cities. So this is Mark 3 and 24, and this is the NLT. It says a kingdom divided by civil war will collapse. So what this is this is going to lead into civil war. This is going to lead into things getting worse. And you are the target, Jake. says border immigration and bad actors entering the country. After spending trillions of dollars defending the border of foreign countries, we're defending our borders of our country from now on. We're not going to let this happen. He accused the Biden administration of allowing criminals, drug dealers, and people from prisons and mental institutions to enter. Biden let people come in from prisons, mental institutions, drug dealers, murderers. They emptied its prison population into our country from all over South America. He also claimed that many immigrants were unmatched, unvetted, unchecked. So this is that devil being the accuser. They're divided and they're falling apart. They're just showing the mind state, what they're in, speaking this vague language. You're the enemy. You're brown. You're unvetted. You're unchecked. You're a criminal. You're brown. What else? You're an animal. You're brown. You're you know, this devil. He's coming after you, Jake. And you sitting there. Hey man, I wonder what's on the game. Who's playing today? Threats of first responders in cities. You know what? I'm just gonna warning to military leaders about dissent, loyalty, and early address. If you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room, of course. There goes your rank and there goes your future. He tied performance and loyalty to policy. You're all based on merit. We're not going to have somebody taking your place for political reasons because they are politically correct and you're not. He asserted that defending the homeland is the military's first and most important priority. This is not your homeland. Your homeland is Edom, Basra, Petra. It says framing internal domestic threats as war. The repeated refrain, we're under invasion from within. It's a war from within. He contrasted foreign wars with internal threats. Only in recent decades, okay, I'm just reading that again. He characterized the internal enemy as harder to fight because they don't wear uniforms. So, says what citizens are being targeted if they don't wear uniforms. Trump didn't explicitly say or name which U.S. citizens he was referring to in that they don't wear uniforms line in the speech. The enemy from within framing was woven into two broad themes: immigrants, people crossing the border. He repeatedly claimed that criminals, drug dealers, people from prisons and mental institutions were entering the U.S., and that the Biden administration emptied prisons in South America into the country. They don't wear uniforms line was meant to contrast foreign armies with undocumented or criminal migrants, i.e. people who blend in rather than show up as an organized force. Now, the problem is they're all brown. You know, and you have so-called white people coming here illegally, but nobody checks them. You got people coming from Canada, European countries, whatever. He's not worried about them. He's worried about you darkies. So it's domestic urban unrest, unsafe cities. He also tied military fighting to crime in Democratic-run cities, Chicago, San Francisco, New York, Los Angeles, calling it a war and suggesting troops be trained by operating in those areas. In that section, they don't wear uniforms could be read as reference to gangs, violent criminals, or protesters in civilian clothes rather than any official group. So it's vague. He never said in plain language ordinary American citizens are the enemy, but this rhetoric blurred the line between undocumented immigrants, people in urban crime settings, and generalized internal enemy. So it's vague language. This is how that devil operates. He's getting these people riled up, stirred up. So Edomites, this is the dog whistle for them. They know exactly who this is talking about. But to you, Jake, you don't hear the frequency. You don't see them gathering together for war. And I put in there Revelation 13 and 11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And you can read about this. This is that part of the fourth beast that came up in Daniel, the 7th chapter. But this was one of the little horns that sprung up out of the three. So this is America that popped up, and it's the two horns that it had, like a lamb, are based off of the plebeians and the patricians going into a political system. You had the left and the right. Like today, you have the Democrats and the Republicans, but it's a part of the same beast. And it says, and he spake as a dragon. So this devil, he looks peaceful. He has horns like a lamb. It looks like he's peaceful, docile. He's on your side, but you're seeing him speaking as a dragon now. That harsh draconian measures, the harsh reality, what he's really about, what's really been lying dormant underneath, which really hasn't been dormant. But the mask is coming off. And let's see here. I posted this. I asked it, but it's just, two horns like a lamb. A lamb symbolizes innocence, gentleness, even anointed like imagery. So it comes off peaceful. Especially how Christianity they portray the Messiah. They portray him like a hippie, peace loving surfer dude, just ready to catch some waves, man. And this is how they come off. So everybody around the world, they put this image of, yeah, we're just relaxed. We love America. Yeah, dude. We're like the yeah, dude. And how they really are is the complete opposite. They're bloodthirsty warmongers. It says two horns without crime. No, it's not it. It's representing the political system. Many interpret, spake as a dragon, despite appearing mild and lamb-like. Its true voice is like the dragon, Satan. They are Satan. They're the physical embodiment of Satan, the physical counterpart. This means deceptive and outward appearance, but inwardly aligned with the serpent, speaking lies, coercion, and ultimately persecution. And I'm just gonna skip past, just oops. This is Psalms chapter 10 and verse 5. His ways are always grievous, thy judgments are far above out of his sight. So this is the ways of Esau, the ways of the wicked. They're always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. So this is Esau Edom. Everything that he comes up with, it's a pain. Look at how he's just run the earth. It is a fucking pain. You got to get up every day, and your boss is a woman. You got microplastics, in your water, in your food, stuff that's emitting estrogen. It's complete nonsense. It says, as for his enemies, he puffeth at them, meaning he's speaking big, bold. He's puffing his chest out at them, puffing his chest out at them. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. So, even earlier what he said, we're not going to let this happen. We're being invaded from within. We're not going to let this happen. That's him saying, another way of saying, I shall never be moved. We're not going to let this happen. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. That's right. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. And this is what he's doing, using that vague language, using deceit and fraud. You're the problem. We've been going all around the world, stealing resources, murdering, raping, robbing, destroying the earth. The earth is completely run into the ground, but you black people, you immigrants, all of you who disagree with the way I run things, you're the problem. It's you. You're the real criminal for pointing out that I'm a criminal. That makes you a double criminal. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. And this is, let's look at that word for mischief real quick. This is I'm probably going to come back and do part 2, Lord willing. All these damn pop-ups. All right, I don't know what this thing is doing. It says mischief, an evil condition, misfortune, hardship, want, need, wickedness, wrongdoing. It says misfortune. So he's bringing misfortune. He's bringing grief. He's bringing evil conditions. This is what this devil does. And this screen is all messed up. Hey, Salaki, give me 1 second. All right. So, Psalms chapter 10 and verse 7, his mouth is full of cursing, deceit, and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. So what's he doing? He's in the lurking places. He's going to these major cities where you Jake are, where you have no idea. You're not paying attention to nothing. He's sitting in the lurking places, hiding out. Oh yeah, we're sending troops here. They're going to use these things as training grounds. And he's looking to murder the innocent. You know, the shed the blood of the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. His eyes are privily set against the poor. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. He croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He has said in his heart, the Most High have forgotten. He hideth his face. He will never see it. So, hey, you can't hide nothing from Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and your plans are out there in the open. So let's see what it has to say about it. And just skipping past it, that the flattery. It says verse by verse, verse 5, it says his ways are always grievous, thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for his enemies, he puffeth at them. The wicked operate, I'm kind of done with this. The wicked operate in pride and oppression, disregarding Yahweh's laws. They believe themselves untouchable, mocking judgment because it seems delayed. So this is them. Because that's Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. Because central sentence against evil work is not done expediently. Basically, they said in their heart, nothing bad has happened to them, so nothing bad is going to happen to them. And that's the wrong mode of thinking. That's not the right. He have said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. This is the arrogance of nations and rulers who believe their kingdoms will never fall. And it gives you an example, Isaiah 47, verse 7 through 8, Revelation 18 and verse 7. About Babylon, I sit a queen and am no widow and shall see no sorrow. And you got great sorrow coming to you. With them ICBM thermonuclear missiles. It says his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. This matches with the speaking as a dragon. Revelation 13 and 11. Smooth words but inward corruption. The systems of power are built on lies, deception, and exploitation. He sitteth in the lurking places. Think of hidden schemes, economic traps, unjust laws, covert operations. Right. The innocent and poor symbolize those without power who are preyed upon by the strong. Right. You can go back to that. Yeah, go back to Habakkuk. Like a lion in secret connects with Peter, 1 Peter 5:8. The adversary seeking whom he may devour. He croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. This false humility, a facade of peace, but in reality a snare. This echoes Daniel 8:25. By peace shall destroy many, and that's speaking of Antiochus. That's Antiochus, I believe Epiphanes. But just to qualify it, because that was speaking specifically about a person. It says he saith in his heart, he said in his heart, God hath forgotten, he hideth his face, he will never see it. The wicked believe their secret crimes are hidden, and Yahweh does not notice. But the next verses, Psalms 10, verse 12 through 15, show that Yahweh does arise to judge and require the blood of the oppressed at their hands. Hey, so Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, he's going to take vengeance for all this, all the wickedness that you've done, Esau, Edom. And that's going all the way back since you were Cain. And that's a lot to pay for it. Man. That's a lot to pay for, That's a lot to pay for, and you ain't got no kind of savior. So, hey, Lord willing, I'm going to come back and do a part 2 to finish this. Hey, shalom.